9.6 million opens at 21.20.
Anytime there's a crisis or great change, there's a chance for shrewd people to make money. We saw it during the pandemic over the past couple of years, with many billionaires growing their vast fortune. And we saw it during the great financial crisis of 2007 and 8, with a number of investors and traders cashing in. The collapse of the USSR in 1991 and subsequent economic upheaval in Russia is no exception. Dozens of Russian men took advantage of the chaos during the 90s to make their billions. These men are known as the oligarchs, from the ancient Greek oligarchia, meaning the rule of the few. They came from a variety of backgrounds. Some were businessmen, others former KGB or politicians. Some even had criminal backgrounds. They were pretty much all allies or associates of President Boris Yeltsin, who was leader throughout the 90s. When Yeltsin began to privatize Russia's vast state assets, things like state oil and gas companies, he engineered it so that these men could acquire them cheaply, and they became billionaires practically overnight. They also became increasingly powerful politically and helped fund his re-election campaign in 1996. The most famous oligarchs of the Yeltsin era include Boris Berezovsky, Mikhail Khodorkovsky, and Ukraine-born Mikhail Fridman. On New Year's Eve 1999, the Yeltsin era came to an end, and the era of Vladimir Putin began. The new president wanted the oligarchs to know that he, not they, was in charge. One of the first big clashes came with Boris Berezovsky. He had hoped that Putin would be another puppet president, but after Putin threatened him, he fled to the UK. He died at his home in Berkshire, England in 2013. Apparently, he hanged himself. Another Yeltsin-era oligarch, Mikhail Khodorkovsky, also made the mistake of challenging Putin on the political stage. He was arrested in 2003 and spent a decade in prison after being convicted of tax evasion. He now lives in Switzerland. After a power struggle between 2000 and 2004, Putin struck a so-called grand bargain with the oligarchs. They would get to keep their influence and wealth so long as they supported him. The oligarchy is still strong under Putin. Here are three of his closest allies today. 68-year-old Alisher Usmanov, estimated worth $17.9 billion. Known as one of Putin's favorite oligarchs, he was Russia's richest man up until 2015. He owns a majority stake in Russia's second biggest phone network, Megafon. Then there's 61-year-old Igor Sechin. His net worth is difficult to estimate, but has been put as high as $2.5 billion. He's been close to Putin since the 90s and is sometimes known as his de facto deputy. He's also the boss of the energy giant Rosneft, Russia's third biggest company. And finally, 55-year-old Roman Abramovich, estimated worth $13.7 billion. He was close to Yeltsin and was the first person to recommend that he choose Vladimir Putin as his replacement. He made his fortune buying state assets cheap and making billions out of them. Outside of Russia, he's best known for owning Chelsea Football Club for the best part of 20 years. These three and dozens more oligarchs suddenly find themselves being sanctioned by the UK, the US, and the United States. German authorities seized Usmanov's $600 million yacht on February the 28th. The French seized Sechin's yacht, worth about $120 million, 5 days later. Meanwhile, British authorities have frozen Abramovich's UK assets and imposed a travel ban. He's now looking to sell his beloved Chelsea Football Club and is reportedly moving his mega yachts to avoid them being seized. There's no doubt the oligarchs are losing as a result of Putin's attack on Ukraine. But the question is, will they now try to talk him out of it? And even if they did, would he listen? Well, thanks for watching our program. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends and family, and even subscribe.